Welcome to my channel. Today, I want to share with you a story about a proposal gone wrong, the tension of unspoken truths, and the emotional weight of trying to please the people we love. Let's dive right into it. It all started one lazy Sunday afternoon, when I found myself sprawled across my couch with a bowl of popcorn, watching yet another engagement TikTok that popped up on my feed. The usual sparkly ring, the teary-eyed proposal, the dreamy music, the kind that makes you sigh and question your own love life. That's when Isabel texted me. Okay, don't judge me, but if Derek ever proposes with this ring, I might actually walk away. Lol. Attached was a screenshot of a silver band with a cushion-cut diamond surrounded by a halo of smaller stones and tiny gems running down the sides. I chuckled and replied, "Noted. No sparkle overload. Got it." That wasn't the first time she brought up rings. And it definitely wouldn't be the last. Over the past 2 years, Isabel and I had become ridiculously close. She was dating my older brother, Derek, and somehow, somewhere along the way, we just clicked. Honestly, if Derek ever did something stupid, and they broke up, I'd probably cry just as hard for losing her. Naturally, over those hundreds of coffee dates, wine nights, skincare sessions, and late-night talks, I picked up on every tiny detail about what she liked. Emerald cut-over round, no side stones, minimalist band. She once said, "I want the stone to speak for itself, like bold but not screaming." I did know. So when Derek finally called me last week sounding a little breathless and weirdly formal, I knew what was coming. "Hey," he said, clearing his throat. So I've been thinking about asking Iz to marry me, and I might need your help with the ring." I swear. I screamed so loud I nearly gave my cat a heart attack. After I calmed down enough to form words, I sent him a link. It was a ring Isabel had shown me during one of those random girl talks solitaire. Lab-grown diamond, emerald cut, plain platinum band, clean, elegant. She even said, "That's the one." I thought I had done my job perfectly. Mission accomplished. Big sister-in-law energy, right? Well, that piece lasted exactly 3 days. Today, Derek texted me a picture of the ring. My heart actually sank. Yes, the main stone was emerald cut and lab-grown. That part, he nailed. But the band, oh God. The band had tiny diamonds encrusted along the sides. Exactly what Isabel didn't want. The same style she had mocked half a dozen times. I stared at the photo for a good 2 minutes. Willing my eyes to be wrong, I zoomed in, tilted my phone, even dimmed the brightness like somehow that would magically make the side stones disappear. They didn't. I called him immediately. "Derek, what is this?" He laughed. "It's the ring. You said emerald cut, lab diamond, right? And look at that sparkle. Isn't it amazing?" Derek, we talked about this. Isabel hates side stones. She literally calls them glitter vomit. This is not her style." He went quiet for a second. Then, "Come on, Chloe. All girls love sparkle. She'll be fine." I sat there stunned. Dude, I've literally been your fiancé's style guide for 2 years. I know what she wants better than she does sometimes. And she will not like this ring. But he just brushed it off. "I already bought it. I think she'll change her mind once she sees it." Girls say things, but when it comes to the moment, they all melt. 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 I wanted to reach through the phone and shake him. Or maybe throw the ring out the window of his apartment and make him start over. But I didn't. I just sat there, chewing on my bottom lip, wondering why he even asked me if he was going to ignore me anyway. I don't want to sound dramatic, but this felt personal. Like I'd been entrusted with a sacred mission safeguarding the ultimate proposal, and now everything was about to implode because my brother thought he knew better. I'm not the one marrying Isabel, but I care. A lot. I want her to have her moment. The gasp. The happy tears. The kind of joy that fills your chest until you can't breathe. She deserves that. And now I'm watching this train wreck in slow motion. Powerless to stop it. But maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe she'll love it anyway. God, I hope she pretends to. Because if she hates it, and I think she will, then I'm the one who's going to see that disappointment first. And I won't be able to unsee it. The next few days passed in a weird haze. I tried to distract myself with work, errands, even deep cleaning my bathroom grout, which, for the record, is not something a sane person does voluntarily. But my brain just wouldn't shut up. Every time I saw Isabel's name pop up on my phone, I froze. What if she brought up rings again? What if she told me Derek was acting weird and she suspected something? What if, God forbid, she thought I had helped him pick that ring? I was spiraling. Hard. On Thursday, Isabel invited me out for drinks after work. I almost bailed, not because I didn't want to see her, but because I was terrified she'd say something that would make my guilt implode. I wasn't even the one proposing, and yet I felt like an accomplice to a crime. But I went anyway. We met at this cozy little rooftop bar. She loved fairy lights, overgrown plants, soft music, the whole vibe like a Pinterest board in motion. She was already there when I arrived, sipping on her usual gin and tonic, legs tucked beneath her, hair in that effortlessly perfect bun she always claimed took zero effort lies. "Hey, you look tense," she said, raising an eyebrow. "Crap!" she noticed. I shrugged. "Long day. Clients suck. You know how it is." She nodded sympathetically. "Want to vent first, or should I?" I smiled. "You go." And then she started talking not about work, not about Derek, but about this girl on Instagram who got proposed to with a horrific ring. "Like, seriously," she said, pulling up her phone. "Tell me this doesn't look like a chandelier threw up." I snorted. It really did look bad. "But she looked so happy," Isabel added, and I felt bad for judging. But like, girl, you're gonna wear that for the rest of your life. I looked at her, really looked at her, and it hit me again just how sure she was about what she wanted. Not just the ring, but Derek, the life, the future. And I couldn't stop thinking how Derek, in his stubborn big brother way, was about to miss that mark by miles. "You think Derek's close?" she asked suddenly, startling me. "Close to what?" She laughed, swirling her drink. "You know, proposing." I choked on my sip. What makes you say that?" She gave me a look. "Come on, Chloe. He's been acting off, like low-key suspicious. He's terrible at hiding things." I forced a casual shrug. "Maybe he's planning a surprise birthday or something. My birthday's not for 6 months. Maybe early." We both laughed, but I could feel the tension rising in my chest. Then she leaned closer, lowering her voice. "Honestly, if he does it soon, I just hope he doesn't panic buy a ring. That would be the worst." My stomach turned. She didn't say it to be mean. She was just being her usual honest, slightly neurotic self. But I knew. Deep down, she was hoping for something specific, something meaningful, and she trusted Derek to deliver, and he was going to fail her. I got home that night and stared at my ceiling for what felt like hours. I couldn't sleep. I kept seeing her face, that sparkle in her eyes when she talked about their future. The way she giggled when she mentioned how Derek had softened over the years, how she could picture growing old with him. I thought about texting Derek again, but what would I even say? He made it pretty clear that he was going ahead with the ring. My opinion didn't matter. Her opinion didn't even seem to matter. Friday morning, I cracked. I sent him a voice message. No filter. Just straight up honesty. "Hey, look, I know you already bought the ring, and maybe it's too late to change anything, but I just need you to understand something. Okay, Isabel isn't a typical girl. She doesn't want a Pinterest ring. She doesn't care about what's trendy. She wants you, and she wants something that reflects her. Not what some jeweler thinks women want. Not what you think sparkle means. She's told me, literally, that side stones make her feel like she's wearing a disco ball. Please, just think about it. One last time. If you don't change it, fine. But don't say I didn't try." He didn't reply. Not immediately. Hours passed. I checked my phone more times than I care to admit. Every time it buzzed, I jumped. But it was never him. Finally, at around 9 p.m. He messaged back. Noted. That was it. No apology, no explanation. Just noted. And for some reason, that single word pissed me off more than anything else. Not because I needed him to agree with me, but because I realized, in that moment, that he didn't understand why I was fighting so hard. It wasn't just about the ring. It was about Isabel. It was about the years of conversations, the quiet trust between us, the idea that maybe, just maybe, I could help make this moment perfect for her. That I could help the man she loved show her how deeply he got her. And now, she was going to look down at that ring, the wrong ring, and smile through gritted teeth. Pretend, nod, cry happy tears that weren't fully real. And I'd know the truth behind her eyes. And it would break me. The weekend passed in this surreal fog. I avoided both of them. No texts, no calls, no casual memes in our group chat. Just silence. Every time my phone buzzed, I hoped it was Isabel saying, "He did it," and telling me how perfect it was. But there was nothing, not even a hint. Sunday night. I cracked and checked her Instagram. Still normal. No ring selfies. No story with the caption, "OMG, gee. Just a picture of a croissant and latte from some artsy cafe, with the caption, "Sundays are for pastries and peace." Was that code? Was she trying to stay peaceful because something was off? I wanted to scream. I felt like I was sitting front row at a play I helped direct, only to watch the lead actor skip all the best lines. By Monday, I couldn't take it anymore. I called my mom, which, for context, is a big deal. My mom is not the gossiping type. She's the stay out of grown folks' business kind of woman. But still, I needed a second opinion. A sanity check. "Ma," I said, "do you think it's wrong to be mad at someone for picking the wrong engagement ring?" She paused. "Depends." "Wrong for who?" "For his fiancé." I groaned. "It's not even about me, but I know she won't like it." He asked for my help. I gave it, and he completely ignored it. And now I feel like I'm watching a slow-motion disaster. She clicked her tongue. Well, Chloe, you did your part. You can't make people listen, even when you're right. But it's so important." I protested. "It's the ring. The ring. The one thing she's supposed to wear forever." My mom chuckled. "Sweetheart, some people care more about the proposal than the ring. Others care more about the marriage than either. But one thing I know, if he proposes with something that doesn't feel like her, she'll remember that. Maybe not forever. But in that moment, oh yeah, she'll feel it." That didn't make me feel better. It just made me dread the fallout even more. Tuesday morning. It happened. I was getting out of my car, balancing a bagel and my iced coffee, when my phone vibrated. I glanced down and saw a message from Isabel. "He did it." My heart skipped. I dropped my bagel. My iced coffee almost followed. I forgot how to breathe. I opened the message, hands shaking. She had sent a photo. There she was, beaming from ear to ear, hand held up in front of her face, ring catching the sunlight just right. Derek stood behind her, grinning like an idiot, his arm around her waist. They were on the beach. Golden hour. Classic. And the ring, it was the one with side stones. Tiny diamonds flanking the emerald, cut like glimmering confetti on either side. I stared at it, frozen. It looked nice. Objectively, sparkly, Pinterest perfect. But it wasn't her. She followed up with another text. "I'm still in shock. I think I blacked out when he got down on one knee." And then another. "The ring is not what I expected, but it's still beautiful. I'm happy. I knew her too well." That last line, that "I am," with the emphasis, that was her way of convincing herself, not me. I didn't reply right away. What could I say? Congratulations. I wanted to, but it felt like I'd be lying. Or worse, like I'd be validating Derek's bad choice. A few hours later, I forced myself to call her. She answered on the second ring, breathless and bubbly. "Hey, sorry. I'm still freaking out." I tried to match her energy. "Girl, I knew it was coming." "I didn't," she laughed. I hoped. But he really caught me off guard. He even booked a photographer. Like, who is this man? "He's full of surprises," I said, trying not to sound bitter. Then came the part I was dreading. "So, the ring," she said, lowering her voice a little. "It's not what I would have picked, like, at all. But I'm telling myself maybe I was being too picky, you know? I stayed quiet. I mean, it's still an emerald cut, she continued. And it sparkles like crazy. And maybe I'll get used to the side stones. Or maybe I'll grow to love them. There it was. The disappointment, subtle, wrapped in optimism. But real, is, I said gently. You don't have to force yourself to love it. She laughed softly. I know, but I don't want to seem ungrateful. He really tried. He got down on one knee and said all these sweet things, and I didn't want to ruin the moment. I swallowed hard. Did you tell him you don't love it? No, she admitted. I don't want to hurt his feelings. I think he's so proud of it. And I do love him. Chloe. That's what matters. And she meant it. I could hear it in her voice. She was choosing love over preference, heart over aesthetics, loyalty over sparkle. I admired her in that moment. Truly. But I also felt this ache I couldn't explain. Because I had tried to help her avoid this exact feeling. I had fought. I had warned. And it hadn't been enough. That night, I couldn't sleep. Again, I kept replaying her voice in my head. That soft, hopeful tone she used to cushion the truth. Maybe I'll grow to love them. He really tried. I don't want to seem ungrateful. God. How many women have said those exact words in the face of something that should have felt like magic? I kept wondering what would have happened if Derek had just listened. If he'd trusted me not as his sister, but as someone who knows Isabel. Would she be staring at her hand in the dark, trying to convince herself it was okay? Would she be glowing without the hesitation? I wasn't mad at her, not even a little, but I was still mad, mostly at Derek, because he knew better, because he had me as a resource and threw that away, because this could have been flawless and he settled for fine. A few days passed before I saw them in person. It was a small family dinner at my parents' place, nothing fancy, just Mom's lasagna, Dad's dad jokes, and the usual low hum of sibling chaos. When they walked in, Isabel was glowing that post-engagement dazzle that even disappointment couldn't dim. Derek looked smug. And the ring. It sparkled like a disco ball every time she moved her hand. Let me see it again, my mom said, reaching for Isabel's hand. Isabel obliged with a practiced smile. Teda. Everyone oohed and awed. Except me. I watched her closely. Her smile was real but tight at the corners. Her laugh slightly too rehearsed. I could tell she had already trained herself to respond like she was thrilled. After dinner, while everyone was busy with dessert, she pulled me aside. I told him. I blinked. Told him what? That I wasn't in love with the ring. My stomach dropped. Wait, when? Last night. We were lying in bed, and I was just staring at it. And I realized I couldn't keep pretending. Not to him. Not forever. What did he say? She exhaled slowly, like she'd been holding that breath for hours. At first, he was defensive. Like, really defensive. Said he thought it was perfect. That he worked hard to pick it out. That it was expensive. I nodded. Classic Derek. But then I showed him our messages. She continued. The ones where I sent you that ring months ago. And how I gushed about it. I told him I didn't care about the cost. Or how shiny it was. I just wanted something that felt like me. And I asked, my heart in my throat. She smiled. He listened. I stared at her, unsure I heard that right. He listened. I echoed, yeah. He apologized. Said he thought all girls liked sparkle, and that he wanted it to look impressive. But then he admitted he hadn't really thought about what I wanted. Not deeply. I leaned back against the kitchen counter, processing. So what now? We're going to swap it, she said simply. Same stone, same shape, just a different setting. Minimal. Clean. No side stones, he said. And I quote, if you're going to wear this for life, it better be something you never want to take off. I blinked hard. Not because I was emotional, okay. Maybe a little, but because I had almost given up on him. On them, for that matter. I thought we were headed for the classic smile through the regret scenario. But instead, he did it. He came around. And I'll be damned. Maybe love does make people better. Later that evening, when Derek caught me alone while I was grabbing a bottle of water from the fridge, he gave me a sheepish smile. Hey, he said. So, you were right. I didn't reply, just arched a brow. He rubbed the back of his neck, clearly uncomfortable. I guess I thought I knew better. And maybe part of me didn't want to admit you knew Iz better than I did. I let the silence stretch. Then I said, I didn't know her better. I just listened. He nodded slowly. Yeah? You did, and I should have listened to you. I'm sorry. I shrugged. But it wasn't bitter anymore. It's not about being right. Derek, I just didn't want her to pretend. She deserves to feel everything. Fully. Especially with you. He smiled, then a real one. I'm lucky to have both of you. You really are, I said, smirking. Don't screw it up. And just like that, the weight in my chest began to lift. Maybe it wasn't the picture-perfect proposal the internet drools over. Maybe it had detours, and ego, and some painful honesty. But it ended in something better, mutual understanding, growth, and a little sparkle where it belonged. Not just on the ring, but in her eyes. Finally, without doubt, the new ring arrived 2 weeks later. It was everything Isabel wanted: simple, elegant, and undeniably her. A single emerald-cut diamond set in a slender platinum band, smooth and uninterrupted. No side stones, no distractions, just the stone, just the promise. She sent me a picture the moment she got it. No caption, just a close-up of her hand resting on a white linen sheet, morning light pouring in through the window. The ring caught a soft, golden ray, not glinting with aggressive sparkle, but glowing, quietly, confident, calm. I stared at the photo longer than I meant to. This time, I felt something shift in my chest. Not frustration, not anxiety, just peace. She followed up with a text a minute later. This feels like me. That was all I needed to read. It made everything, the stress, the arguments, the guilt, worth it. I called her immediately. So, it's the one now, I teased. She giggled. It's the one, for real. And Derek, he's cool with the change. She exhaled, a bit of disbelief still hanging in her voice. He was actually sweet about it. He said seeing how I looked at the old one made him realize I wasn't really happy, and that he'd rather lose a few bucks than see me pretend. I nodded, smiling. That's growth. Right. She laughed. I mean, who is this emotionally intelligent man I agreed to marry? I laughed with her, but inside, I felt something else too, a deep, quiet gratitude. Because despite all the wrong turns, Derek chose to course correct, not because he had to, but because he wanted to, because he heard her. And that, more than any diamond, was the real gift. A few days later, I met up with both of them for lunch. There was something different in the air, a lightness. They laughed more, touched each other more. Derek kept sneaking glances at her like he was still surprised he'd pulled it off. At one point, while Isabel was in the restroom, he leaned toward me. You know, he said, I think part of me was scared you knew her better than I did. And that kind of stung. I didn't say anything. But the truth is, he went on, you do know her in a different way, and that's okay. You two are close. You see things I miss. I tilted my head. Is this your roundabout way of saying thank you? He smirked. Don't push it. I grinned. I'll take it anyway. That lunch, simple as it was, felt like a soft closing of a rough chapter. No drama, no unresolved tension. Just 3 people who loved each other, figuring it out together. And as I watched Isabel talk animatedly about wedding planning, her eyes shining, hands gesturing, cheeks flushed with excitement, I realized something else. She wasn't just marrying Derek. She was marrying into us. The family, the chaos, the awkward group chats and passive-aggressive holiday games, the deep loyalty and protective instincts. She was becoming part of my world too, and I wanted that world to reflect who she truly was. Later that night, I journaled something I hadn't done in a while. I wrote about the ring, about the tension, about the way people often assume love is about grand gestures and dramatic declarations. But sometimes, love is quieter. It's listening. It's adjusting. It's changing your mind because someone else's happiness matters more than your pride. I ended the entry with one line. She got the ring, but more importantly, she got seen. And really, isn't that what we all want? To be seen, to be heard, to be known. I don't know what the rest of their story will look like. I don't know if the wedding will be flawless, or if their marriage will be everything they hope. But I do know this. When it mattered, Derek stepped up, and Isabel stood her ground gracefully. And me, I learned that sometimes being the one who knows best doesn't mean you'll be listened to. But that doesn't mean you stop speaking up, because the people we love deserve someone who will advocate for their joy, even if it makes things uncomfortable for a while, even if it means arguing over diamonds. Especially then, a few months later, the wedding invitations arrived. Cream-colored cardstock, minimalist gold lettering, no frills. Just like Isabel's simple, elegant, and quietly meaningful. The date was set for early fall, on the edge of September, right when the air starts shifting and summer slowly hands over the world to autumn. The venue, a botanical garden just outside the city, lush, peaceful, intimate. I smiled when I read it, imagining her walking through tall, swaying grasses in a silky dress, ring glinting on her finger. Not just any ring, the one she chose, the one she waited for, the one she loved. I offered to help with planning, but she had it under control. Like, scary under control? Color palettes, playlists, table settings. She was a woman on a mission. Every now and then she'd call to vent about the florist or the guest list, or how Derek kept mixing up mauve and dusty rose. But beneath the chaos, she was calm, she was sure, and that certainty, it made me proud in a way I didn't expect. Derek, on the other hand, was a mess. At his bachelor dinner, which I semi-co-hosted because of course I did, he pulled me aside while the guys were too deep in wings and beer to notice. "Hey," he said, serious all of a sudden. "I know I said thank you before, but I don't think I said it like, enough." I frowned. For what? For pushing back. For knowing what she wanted, even when I didn't want to hear it. I raised an eyebrow. "You sure you want to bring up the ring again? Pretty sure I still have screenshots of you saying, 'She'll get over it.'" "Ah," he chuckled, then shook his head. "I didn't get it back then. I thought it was just a detail. But now, I realize it wasn't about the ring. It was about seeing her, really seeing her." He paused, eyes softer. "You helped me do that." That caught me off guard. I didn't expect him to be so honest. I smiled, small and real. "Well, if you mess this up, I will take her side in the divorce." He laughed. "Fair." The wedding day came fast. Golden sun, rustling trees, the scent of eucalyptus in the air. Isabel walked down the aisle with her dad, eyes locked on Derek like the world had narrowed to just him. And when he looked at her, I knew he saw her. Fully, clearly. No sparkle distraction, no assumptions. Just her. The vows were personal and a little awkward in that charming way that makes people tear up. Derek even slipped in a joke about ring settings, which made Isabel throw her head back laughing. And when he slid the ring on her finger, that quiet, perfect band, she looked at it, then at him, and mouthed, "Thank you, not for the ring, but for listening, for learning, for loving her in a way that didn't just say 'I love you,' but showed it with action, humility, and yes, even a little course correction." The reception was joyful and messy and full of too much wine and impromptu karaoke. I danced with cousins I barely liked, helped Grandma sneak extra cake, and at one point caught Isabel staring at her hand under the fairy lights. She didn't see me watching, but the way she smiled at that ring, quiet, gentle, and certain, told me everything. No hesitation, no pretending, just joy. Later that night, she found me on the balcony, barefoot and tipsy, her veil twisted up in her hand like a ribbon. "I was scared," she said softly. "Of what?" "That if I said something about the ring, it would make me look like I cared too much about material stuff. That it would ruin the moment." I nodded, listening, but I'm glad I said it. And I'm even more glad you didn't let it go. You knew I wouldn't love that first ring, and you tried. You fought for me. I smiled. "You deserve that. Always." She hugged me tight, then whispered, "You're gonna be in our lives forever. You know that, right?" "I plan on it," I whispered back. And in that quiet, starlit moment, I realized something simple. Love isn't just between two people. It's all the people who surround them. It's the ones who listen, who push, who hold up a mirror and say, "This is who they are." Don't forget it. It's friendship. It's family. It's showing up. And sometimes, it's just making sure the ring feels right. Thanks for tuning in to Reddit Stories. New tales drop daily drama, love, or ghostly glories. Hit like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you won't miss the next story we tell. Got thoughts to share? Drop them below. We read them all just so you know.